Welcome back to Gun Tote Minnesota, and today I have a really brief review of a heated scarf. Now, it's fall here in Minnesota, but there's already snow around and snow on the ground. As usual, I always say it seems like winter comes too early, but it's many months of the year, and so we have to focus on things that keep us warm here in Minnesota, and this was sent out to my channel by an Amazon storefront, actually. And so I'm going to take this out of the box and show you what you get if you order this heated scarf. I will have links down in the description and the first comment as well. So when you open up the box, inside, there's only a few things. Okay, there's some instructions. You have inside this bag your manual. If you've never used something like this before, this might be useful. The user manual and also how the power source is going to work, which is this right here. Okay, it's going to come with a Type-C charging cable as well. I like that. I like Type-C. That's the preferred charging method for me and all the things that I use. So here is the battery bank. It's got your power button, okay, on and off. And then there's going to be some indicators. And on this side, there's actually a significant amount of options here. You have out 1, out 2, and then you have two different kinds of ins. So whether you have the right cable with you or not, you're going to find a way to make this work. Or if you need to power up something and you need a little extra juice, this would be a good tool to have for that by itself. But this is actually going to power the scarf. So I'll go ahead and take the scarf out, unroll it here, and give you a better look at it. All right, so it's a good size scarf here. You're going to have your power switches and selectors, so you can do the neck or the hood, and actually this is the proper orientation like this. You can do either just the neck or the hood or both, and that's going to help you select that. And there is a hood with this, believe it or not, it has a hood, and it's in this zipper right here on the neckline, and it's just raveled up in there. Lightly insulated, but again, it's got an electric heating element in there. It does have drawstrings, so you can batten down the hatches a little bit there. Now this is going to interfere with my microphone, so give me just a second, and I'm going to throw this on and tighten it up, and I'll get my microphone in some sort of way so that it doesn't get scratchy against this. So it looks like you have a loop on one side, okay, and this loop that has pass-through is going to be for this piece right here. And that passes through, tightens up on your neck, and get the hood situated, get the strings drawn out. Okay, you can see that it does tighten down, and I could loop these underneath. And if I'm using this, it's because it's pretty cold, so I'm going to want it tight anyways. Just like that. And now is when I would hit one of these right here. And these are, again, your options for what you want to be heated and when. Hopefully you can see a little bit better in this dim spot I'm at right now. There's actually a color association. As you press these buttons, there's like a white setting. It's kind of glowing white. There's blue. And these are different heat settings. There's red. And they are just like what you would think. Consult your user manual if you're not sure how to use them or what that does. But that's a useful piece because you can distinguish between the hood and the neck what you want to be warmer. And there's some options for individual heat settings if you wanted to go red-blue or white-blue, or turn one off altogether, like that. And so that's a neat setting. Again, this is something that's probably rated for fall temperatures, in my opinion, and could be really useful, especially for my context where my little girl very often has something that doesn't have a hood on it, and this could warm her up and would be good for a sports game or a place where you're sitting down and you just need a little extra heat. All right, so inside of this pouch, this is actually where the battery compartment is going to be. So zip, can open it up, and there's a plug-in right there. It's a USB. So I'm going to plug that into number 1. And where's my power button right here? And I can actually see some lights turning on there. So I've got some indicators. And this is powering lines that run through the scarf. You can kind of feel them if you pinch it like that. I can feel it starting to get a little bit warm, so it's running through and I know it's working. This is also going to be your power indicator, letting you know how much you have left before you need to charge the device again. After I've got that on, I'm going to go ahead and tuck it back into the pouch. This is where it's to be kept, and keep it, from getting snow on it or getting even cold itself. Cold usually reduces battery life, so if it's on and running, it'll keep it a little bit warmer. And then I'll go ahead and select one of these options. I'll start with the neck. This would be nice not just as a scarf, but maybe as something, if you're at like a game, maybe a kid's game, or you're outdoors, or you're hunting, and you just need something to wrap your hands around. This is a really soft material. Okay, it's got kind of a blanket feel, almost like a kind of a fleece feel on one side, and the other side is smooth, but it's a warm, comfortable feel. It's not going to grab at my beard or get hung up on stuff, I don't think. All right, heat's moving through a little bit now. Now I know it's going to be difficult for you to see because of the lighting. I'm in kind of a direct lighting area right now, but this right here is actually going to turn red when you press it. And as you hold it down, that's when you know that it's actually on, it's activated and sending heat out. You don't just press it once, you kind of hold on to it for a moment. The manual does say to hold down the button for 3 seconds or so. It's going to be right around there. So after pressing both the buttons, I'm going to say that the heat that is being sent to both the hood and then throughout the scarf, it didn't take too long. It's a lot of line to run through all of this garment, but it didn't take too long. The hood is also nice. It fits my head, and I'm 6'5". I'm a pretty large guy, and I found that it was a decent size hood. It's nice and soft. Again, I think this is kind of a fleece material on the inside, so it already has some of its own slight moisture resistance, maybe a light snow resistance, and then on top of that, it's got the added warmth for sure, being fleece, and a little bit of wind resistance and the warmth, which is the main thing. My hand's just sitting in here right now. This is pretty convenient. It definitely is even. Looks like the heat is coming through evenly in the hood. I can feel it kind of on both sides. So if you didn't have something for your ears and you just wanted to throw this in your car, you didn't have a hood on a sweater. I know many times I jump in the car to go get the kids or from something, and I might end up spending a little more time outside than I thought. This would be an easy thing for me to keep around or in the car and know that I could have an electronically heated cheater. So being in Minnesota, I review every year a number of electronically heated items because it's a really good plan, versus the old hand warmers that sometimes work, sometimes don't, sometimes they get suffocated when you leave them in a pocket. I'm just finding those to be more and more unreliable, and I'd rather go towards these electronically heated items. I know how many hours I'm going to get out of them. This one I've been running for 2 hours so far. It's actually been on most of the time I've been out here, and I'm not having any issues with it dying or reducing heat. So far, it's pretty even. And I can wrap it around my hands. I could put it in my lap while I'm shooting and warm up one of my hands. I could use it for my daughter or one of my kids if they're just a little extra cold, and it's easy to store in my car and reuse it. And that's probably one of the biggest benefits, is it's reusable heat and it's easy to charge up. I left mine for 6 hours, which is probably even more than it needs, but I left mine to charge up for 6 hours, and that was enough time to get it back up to a full charge in my case. Go ahead and read that user manual, though, and you'll see that they have some safety warnings about if you replace this with another pack. Okay, it goes through here, by the way, which makes a lot of sense. Weights it down and keeps the scarf centralized. But if you're going to use a different pack for a power source, make sure that it matches up and that you're not using wrong power sources. That may cause issues or may not work altogether. So read the stats inside the manual, but I would say it gets my approval. It's going to work just fine, and I know for sure my kids are going to be using this winter.